Good evening, everyone out there in Unlock the Middle Land. Chris Starcheski, principal at Dudley Middle School, and co-host alongside Josh Tovar, Dean Packard. We have got a tremendous show tonight on Sunday evening, talking with an inspiration of power, passion, and resiliency, and it's going to be a great show. Dean, how are you, my friend?
Chris, happy Sunday night to you and everybody on the call tonight. Sunday nights are all about getting better, and that excites me because we're going from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, and we're not going to pass go. We're not going to stop. We're not even going to stop on Route 20 anywhere. We're just going to hear this story, and we're going to become a little bit better. So great. It's great to have all of you here. My name is Dean Packard. I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. Alongside of me, I have co-founders Chris Starcheski, Josh Tovar, and tonight we're going to be just rocking the house. Josh, down to you next. Then we're going to bring on our guest.
Hey, everybody. Josh Tovar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA. Excited. Looking forward to, you know what? We say this often, but let me tell you, we all require that little special fire in our life, especially being in this beautiful profession that we have. And we always tell our kids, don't give up. Never give up. Never give up. And you always need that one go-to situation in life. When Rocky got back up, when whatever situation happened, you always need that point where the kids could have a reference and say, I won't give up. And today, us as adults, we have that star here. On this day, Fantastic Four, Free PD, we have a great guest that will give us that moment in our lives to start off 22-23. What do you think about that, dude?
I'll tell you what, Merlyna, welcome to our show. I've been really excited since Josh told me you were coming on and done my research, looked a little bit about your background. And man, you just don't stop. You just have a story that is just waiting to be told. So again, guys, this is Navigating Leadership number 78. And we're going to hear tonight all about Merlyna's story and where she's all about. So why don't you do a little introduction of yourself, talk about where you're from, what you do, and then we're going to get right into the nuts and bolts of this.
Thank you so much for having me. I am a lifelong educator. I was a teacher and a principal and executive director in a very successful school district here in Louisiana. I'm just ecstatic to be able to share my story with all of you, of resilience, of courage, of overcoming adversity, of beating the odds. These times that something I share today will help our educators to keep going and get into a lot of that when you allow me to just share my story.
Josh, why don't you take the lead?
Well, let's start off right now. I think, we do this a lot, and you're a very famous speaker, Merlyna. But you know what? People still haven't heard. People haven't heard of Principal Cafele. People haven't heard of Todd Whitaker or Jimmy Casas, because a lot of people are not really into national conferences. They're not into social media. So yes, you're an educator, but let us know a little bit more of that. Like I said, what would make me as a principal of over 3 decades look at you and say, wow, what a rock star. I love her. She inspires me. She brings the fire in me. What has happened in your life? What obstacles have you faced?
So in 2007, I'd been a school principal of an elementary grade. I had 650 amazing scholars and over 110. And I was ready to start a new school year, excited for what the new year brings, especially my school community. And I had an awful pain at Meet the Teachers, my favorite night of the year. And so I was ecstatic just to kick off that school year, and I felt an excruciating pain in my side. And that was Tuesday morning. I was diagnosed with a kidney stone, and I said to the doctor, "That's full." And so guess what? I'm not the least bit concerned. Tell me what I need to do, because Wednesday, and I have to be there. I am the principal. I was told that I would see a specialist on Friday, would decide my course of treatment, let her know if I had any issues before then. Well, that first day of school, because on Tuesday night, I became violently ill, a very, very treacherous night. I visited an emergency room, and I was then sent home and told maybe the flu, maybe a virus. Follow up with my doctor. Wednesday morning, I could barely lift my head off the pillow. I went to a second emergency, figure out what was going on, asking if it was related to my kidney stone, and being told still trying to figure things out. I stayed there for hours. I visited a third ambulance, and still for many hours there were no real answers. And at that point, major organ failure. My lungs, my kidneys are down, and finally they decided to send me to a main campus for critical. Arrived at the fourth hospital that week with the doctor saying to me if I got in there, just he was not sure that I would even make it to be with all of you here today. Those were the put into a medically coma for 7 days, and that night my family was told I had a less to surviving. The kidney stone, it blocked my kidney, and an infection to something called sepsis. And I can tell you that it was the biggest. I spent 3 weeks in the intensive care unit on a ventilator. I spent months in the hospital my way back. And as you can see, I won the battle. I beat sepsis, was able to survive, but that did not leave me unchanged. And because of the sepsis in my life, I became a quadruple amputee. I lost both legs below the knee. And in that moment, when I realized what was happening, I expected that to be a defining moment where the tragedy would win and adversity would. I worked for my entire life, but the entire time, all I thought about was getting back to that and being a living, breathing example to my students, to my staff, to my community. Looks like in troubled times, I fought to get back to that building. And I must say, to the date of my illness, which was August of 2009, I didn't just walk back into the building as Mary, and I am pretty extra. I danced my way back in, and I became that building. And every moment since then, I've lived life on purpose, just knowing that it's a very special journey that I'm on. And I use that message to inspire everyone that I meet.
You know, I caught all that, and I'm saying to myself, wow. I mean, you were just such an inspiration to want to get back to where you were, and you beat it. And that's fantastic. And, we talk about embracing change and changing who you are to meet what you need to get done. You're a true story for that. So, what adjustments really, I mean, I get it. I know there had to be adjustments. How did you embrace this change, and how did you move forward with that to be the best you can be? Because I can see it just glowing from you.
For me was I was a person very resistant to change before this happened, because I was and I wanted everything in life to go a certain way. So when change would happen, I was not very comfortable, or I didn't like the uncertainty that might come along with change. I felt scary or messy. But I realized in this case that the change chose me. So I didn't have a say, so I couldn't tell it no, that I didn't want it. I just had to realize that what happened to me. So I had to change my outlook about it all. And so I started to say, if you that do, your hands and feet are never growing back. So now you've got to manage this change. And so I started working on the mindset and seeing myself succeeding. And like, if I took this change and allowed it to transform me into the best, I started thinking about how uncomfortable it felt, but in that space, I was and becoming such a dynamic leader by thinking that this story could inspire my students and my staff and my entire community. And so I started to my life in a way that it became transformational. I started saying, that is how I wake up and how I respond to what has happened to me. It was the response difference. And so now every day I was going to view things as more possible, then it's a choice we get to make every day. And every moment that I've lived since that resist this change has been one that has been purposeful, meaningful, and intentional. Change is not this scary beast that we are not able to figure out how to. We've got to learn that change can be hard, scary, messy, whatever it is. But I'm gonna. And so when it is something that I feel is so important to me and to those that I choose to serve, learn how to go with the flow and let this change happen in a way that I come out of it. And I think that transformation in my thinking and my mindset about it all is what made.
Wow, Merlyna, I did drop out. I had a network problem here. Believe it or not, it existed on the East Coast as well tonight. I've done some homework on you. I watched the Today Show episode that featured you as you rebounded, and I just have to say, you are truly an inspiration, and you're touching the lives of many. What you just said around embracing change, for educators, that could be a real scary piece because there's a level of uncertainty. There's a level of inability to determine if I do this, the results need to be positive, and dealing with that uncertainty sometimes dissuades people from taking that risk. What advice do you have, or what counsel can you provide to folks to really embrace that change and tackle the uncertainty in a way that it's not going to dissuade them?
Well, I'm an expert at uncertainty, the unwanted, the unexpected. And all of those were years when I had no idea how I would come back from this. There were no clear cover from it and return to my job. And I saw myself there in the hallway, but believed in that. And I kept thinking the whole time I've been focusing in life on proving people who don't. And what I should have been doing was proving those who believe in me right. And I started there. These are unexpected, uncertain, unwanted. It is in that size I was reimagining who I was and how I could lead, and I was actually getting better every single day. I started focusing on not just in life and how much I accomplished in life, but rather how much I overcome. Educators, we need to sit at the end of the day when we're reflecting upon our day and think about how many times things were uncertain, and yet we're still here. We're doing it every day. We're changing and transforming lives. And so each day I would wake up and saying, look at what you accomplished. Look at what you overcame. And yesterday, and it was time to give up, you kept going. And now look at where you are. And I see this moment by reimagining and recreating who we are, what we do, and think about how many times we're able to succeed because we have the the skills, the passion to want to do this job. We chose to do this. I don't see that space of the unexpected as a space where I don't want to really say it's the best place for me to grow. And I hope educators begin to see that this is a time years where you've done the unthinkable, the unimaginable. You've reimagined, recreated yourselves and how we reach and teach students. And now's not the time to give up. So how it felt in 2020 when we had no idea what the future would hold and how far we've done for our students and for each other, and continue to do that. In this still meet the unexpected, I say, well, this is another opportunity for me to the rest of the world. And that's where I hope we stay.
Josh? Josh, you're not on.
Right now, we have a situation where I'm just self-reflecting on everything that you said, and it's I've heard your story before many times. The beautiful interview you did with Principal Cafele. I mean, just seeing the things on social media that you put out there, It's something about the will of life. And I think that this is one of the things that we talk about a lot in our Sunday school class as adults, about what is the purpose that we have, and that purpose that we have that we really can't absorb unless you face death, unless you face the creator and you question everything about life. And you know what? A lot of people question during the last 2 years as they saw people pass away, kids, family members, community. And it's this whole mindset situation about um, entrusting our reality or humanity. So when you face this situation, Merlina, and the physical adversity, you had to have a strong mindset with this. So what can you tell a first year teacher, a 30-year teacher, a first year assistant principal, a 30-year assistant principal? What can you tell that kid that just went to freshman high school, that missed 2 years of school? Talk to us about a mindset of overcoming adversity.
The key to me rebounding and reclaiming my life was focusing on what I have in life and not what's missing. So often we compare ourselves, and that comparison will steal all the joy that you have. So I just do what I have, and I'm going to focus on that and not focus on these missing limbs and how much is going and how much I lost, because every day I wake up feeling like the biggest winner. Still here, and I'm able to live a life of purpose. And to me, that's what it's about. It's about want to express your gratitude and grab hold of that gratitude to say, you know what, I have a lot for me, and things are going well. I just need to remember to keep focused on those things. Being able to stop holding on to what you think life should be like. In the beginning, I kept thinking, well, this is not the life I envisioned. This is not the life I had planned. That forever, I would only be someone who was bitter and hosting pity parties with pity snacks. And I let that go, and I said, I'm going to have the life that I live now. I'm going to think about what life can be if I continue on this journey. And days are hard for counter obstacles just about every hour. But I continue to say that if that I have inside of me, that why that I often talk about, and that is to capacity that I can to serve our students, to serve educators, even as sharing my message. If I want to continue to do that, I have got to grab hold of what and celebrate every single moment that I'm able to do this important. But all of us need to hold on to. Stop focusing on what you think your life should be like, and instead live life in the moment, in the present, and say to yourself, I'm going to grab every moment that matters for me, because look at what's at stake. It's our future students. And so just holding on to every day, you should wake up hopeful, and great things are going to happen, and that there will be greatness around you because you're assuming everyone. And if we do that, we go into each new day with the expectancy that's happened. That's what we'll look for, and that is what we will find. I stopped looking at this and the problems and what's going wrong, and started focusing on everything that goes right. Each transformational for me, and I hope that more people begin to look with hope and optimism in today.
Merlyna, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think the word limitation is part of your dictionary, okay? I think that your heart and your soul are just in the perfect place. You know what you need to do, and you're working hard each day to be out in front and do that. Kudos to everything about you in that capacity. There's no doubt about that. And your students and staff and your learning community is lucky to have you. And anytime you can speak, I think it's a great thing, because we often forget, there are things we can control and things we can't control. And you've put a lot of things behind you to serve the purpose of the seat of what we do in education and leadership. So that's absolutely fantastic. You talked about holding on to hope. Okay. And that's a real interesting topic, because, we can go in a lot of different directions with this, but your story circumvents right back to that word hope, okay? Because you've done everything you had to do to be the best version of you. Talk about that, how that correlates back into the world of education. We get caught up in things in education that we just can't control. And you know what? Look by that and celebrate the things that are good about what we do. And if everybody did that, think about how schools would be. Think about that for a second. So I'm going to be quiet for a second. I'm going to toss that back to you with hope.
Well, to control the uncontrollables because of the person that I was, always trying to be proactive and thinking things through. I was, making my life now is uncertain. And so I started thinking that every single morning with great anticipation that today is going to be a good day. I actually look in the mirror today because I only have good days. And that means that I get to control what I have. I get to decide the attitude, the mindset that I will bring to anyone or anything that I will encounter during the day. And some of us need to talking to a lot of my students when they say, well, she made me angry and and I said, are you giving to someone else because of something they've said or done? Let's not do that, because it's that today will be a good day. And that whatever I encounter during this day, I'll be able to deal with it, to come out of it, allow myself to feel whatever emotion I need to feel in the moment. To do is to be stuck there in a land where I am not going to. I keep thinking about how many times I hear the what if. What if this would happen? Then this what if land. I am going to decide how I move forward each and every day. So for me, that I literally wake up in the morning and anticipating that so many during that day that I don't know how I'll contain myself. And I literally tell myself today is going to be a great day, because it's going to be a better day than yesterday. And I will be mindful of how I respond to things. I will be present in the moment. I will learn. I will grow through what I'm going through. And I will come out of it as the best. And by doing so, I leave here every single day for whatever task I need to do, job that I might need to get accomplished, whatever I need to be there for whomever. I get here feeling already pumped up, already having made deposits in my resilience bank, so that withdrawn, I'm not depleted, I'm not empty, I'm not bankrupt, because I'm literally feeling all the right thoughts and saying to myself, let's go out and look for everything going well. Things that are, amazing in my life. And when something happens that doesn't go as planned, because now I'm going to take my time and respond to it instead of react to it. You see, that's a big. I was someone that would react immediately because I thought I needed to solve everything in the moment, everything right. But I'm allowing myself that grace and that space to say, be patient. Things will turn around. Things are going to be okay. Just take your time and move, embracing what happens. That's how I remain hopeful.
Merlyna, I sit here, you mentioned earlier, stay true to your why. You just hit the nail on the head with respond versus react, right? Our job as leaders is to not necessarily have all the answers, but have the ability to look into situations, understand the moving parts a little bit, and try and navigate those challenges in a way that gives others confidence and belief that everything will be okay. In your work, going out and keynoting and wearing the superhero cape, the Shiro cape, you've done some tremendous work at influencing others to be better and to be better organizationally than just individually. As you think about leadership, you've got 3 middle school, high school principals on the screen. We've been in the game for a while. There may be some newbies out there in the audience. What are the top tidbits of advice for leaders that you feel sometimes get overlooked and are most powerful?
Well, for me, it is having the right decision. That is what made my leadership something that I look forward to say, am I doing what's best for students? Am I doing what's best for the students, the scholars? Every decision that we make in this building should be rooted and grounded in that. And if the answer is revisit it, rework it, rethink it, I started there. I also spent a lot of time as reflection. At the end of every day, I would sit at my desk, my thoughts for the day, the things that I thought went well, the things that were even to look forward to and address. But I always went back to, did every decision I make to our mission, our vision, our beliefs, what we say about the work that we do here, words, or were we putting those things into action? I believe that you have to be someone who, and that I'm not hard on myself when I reflect, but I am honest with myself and saying, you know, today with that emerging teacher that I really could have chosen my words better, and that tomorrow with her, I didn't leave anything to wonder or to ponder things. And if I needed to go back and say, you know what, I'm sorry yesterday that didn't go as I expected, get together and kind of talk about what happened. So reflection was a huge piece of my success. I also believe that if we're not connected to why we do what we do as leaders, then I don't know a school that we have the privilege to serve others in. I am out on, am I still walking in alignment with my why? What I believe in my heart is the red every single morning, ready to face the day. My why has evolved since I received, but it's still connected to the students that we all get to serve. And by doing that motivation, or I don't question, why am I still doing this? I'm always saying, you know, the benefits, the value, the worth that I have in the space in education. I'm connected to that why. Then I'm motivated beyond anything to keep going. The top 3 things that leaders, new, emerging, or our seasoned leaders need to keep it connected to your why, reflecting, and then having the right decision making. So it's everything that I'm doing each day actually for my students' benefit, or the top priority, and revisiting our data to make sure that the things that we're putting in beneficial to our students. You know, those are things that I believe as leaders, if we focus on those, great culture that supports all of that, I think you'll be on the right track and you can continue to do.
So, since you're in different parts of the country, Canada, you're touring around, and we all have heard and we're living it. I still have 4 vacancies. You know, I've got 2 in one side that I could wait, but I have 2 vacancies pending to be pulled through the HR system. You've heard of this exodus that's going on in public education, and you've been around administrators, you've been around superintendents, you've had these conversations. What advice can you give out there based on everything you've observed, everything that you've heard right now to help out? Because you sat in the chair, you're an administrator still, you always be, like Principal Cafela says, you will always be a principal for life. So what can you say based on your conversations with so many people, with all the speaking engagements that you do, about the exodus in education, and what do you feel we can do to try to prevent that from happening?
Retention is the biggest part of the job that I did, and that was to ensure that was one that was supportive of our educators, that encouraged our educators, but made them aware of how much we valued and respected and cared for them. We're always focused on the social emotional learning of our students, but what I've been that I work with is how much they put an emphasis on the social emotional wellness of the students, and in checking in with them. And for me, a lot of what I did sure that our culture was one that was so inviting that people were knocking in and to not get out. Now, I realize I have not led a school during what's been happening in the last 2.5 years. But I think some of the things that we did too was welcoming, inviting, inclusive, were all things that will work right now. Is the top priority right now, because we are not recruiting at the level that we were being in a position where I had 12 applicants for each one of my positions. So I say to all the leaders, what are you doing to keep those and to inspire them, encourage them, and motivate them to continue on this job? Priority that your culture, your climate is supportive, it's encouraging, it's taking care of the people that you have. I believe, I'm a firm believer in expectations, and anyone who worked for me could tell you that that's what we did. We held each other accountable, but we also did the things that would celebrate each other, that would make us not just, but celebrate our differences, and that we had this collective unity every single day. I did my part in every encounter that I had in the entire staff to remind them of the importance of the work that they do, and that I was along with them, that would allow them to continue to do the job that they do. And so I just culture and that climate, and making the retention a priority for you, and do the people who work in your schools need, and then how are you meeting those needs? Are you sending those notes and saying, you know what, today I just want to let you know to meet you in the hallway and have that conversation, and I'm here for you. People just want you, that they're valued and that they're respected, and it's the same for our students. So it works, and I think that many of us have to continue to work in the area of making something that is in the forefront, that people see what we do, celebrated for what we do, and acknowledged for the growth that we make each day, and just having the right culture in your building, and inviting those into that culture, and having staff go out as your best recruitment piece. We tell the story about our school, right? Mindful of the stories that are being told, and being the chief storyteller is what we need to start doing.
Merlyna, I gotta tell you, if we're playing baseball and you hit the ball to center field in the deepest part of the park, you just touched on every base. And from a leadership standpoint, I'm talking metaphorically, you hit it all: value, culture. You talk about, pride, passion. You talk about gratitude. You hit every button. If there's a district out there that wanted to get you and they wanted to have you come and speak, how can they find you? How are you accessible to them? How can people come out and just get your voice into their schools?
So sure, I would definitely be able to share a message with people wherever it's needed, and that's my passion now. I am found on my website at www.SHiroValentine.net. I am on Twitter at Merlyna, and I am on Facebook, Merlyna Valentine. So if you Google much, that website comes up, and you're able to contact me and email me, and I'd be delighted to be our educators to keep going this important work that we do every single day. It's so appreciate those who are still here on this journey together with all of us.
Well, Unlock the Middle scored a major touchdown, and we're not even on Thursday night, Josh and Chris. So why don't you? I'll kick it over to you, Josh.
Hey, Merlyna, wow. Thank you. We don't have the bad like Principal Cafele does about hitting a home run now, but you're fabulous like always. I highly suggest that everybody, please, who's on the call right now, shares it, spread the word, because we're going to need this to come back maybe in a month or two to hear the inspirational stories presented to us today, because we will always face adversity in life, and it's having that role model in you. You're the role model for a lot of us that have sat in your chair, a lot of us in public education, and we really thank you for being here today. And I just want to say real quick, hey, Tuesday, we have our office hours show. And you might want to tune in, Merlyna, because we would love your feedback. It's a 20, that's all it is. And we do is discuss daily topics that we face in public education. Don't know what it is, but it's only 20 minutes. We don't go more than 20 minutes, sometimes 21 minutes. But you know what? It can happen because topics like this, free PE like this, part of the Fantastic Four, we need to learn from each other, because during these troubled times, as we try to get the ship back on the right course, we're only stronger together. So we'll thank you, Merlyna, for being here tonight, and we'll see you for off hours this 2 p.m. Eastern. Join us 20.
Great. Thank you, Unlock.
Hey,
It's
listen.
an honor.
Thanks for joining
Merlyna,
us.
thank you very much. Merlyna Valentine, unbelievable story. Great job tonight. You know what? Just if you get a chance, like Josh said, retweet it out, send it out, let people see what this is all about, because in the end, we're all about helping other people get better. So this is what tonight was all about. I want to thank you all for joining us. Have a great week. Keep on digging.
Thanks, guys.